Hello everyone, welcome to Legacy IAS YouTube channel. So in this video, we are going to discuss about how we are supposed to approach the prelims examination that's going to happen in the month of May 2025. So we are hardly left with few months. So how we are going to go from zero to prelims hero. So that's the strategy we are going to talk about in this video. So it's going to be a step-by-step strategy. So I have divided the strategy into 4 stages. What has to be done in each stage on a weekday, on a weekend, and on a daily basis, what needs to be done. This is what is discussed in this particular video. First and the foremost thing is about planning your studies. Do not plan too much ahead of time. Always plan for a day, right? So you have to decide what you are going to study the very next day. My suggestion would be for you to sit down on a Friday or a Saturday and decide what you are going to do from Monday to next Sunday, right? So you have to plan for one entire week and on a daily basis what you are going to study. So I'll tell you what should be there in a day. Okay, so the first stage is for the 35 days. What you are going to do for the 35 days? You are supposed to target 3 subjects. One is your polity, Indian polity, 2 Indian economy, 3 geography. Why these 3 subjects? These 3 subjects form the core, or these are the concept based subjects, and this is where you are not supposed to make any mistakes. Most of the questions come from your books, so it's essential you master these subjects in the initial phase itself. So for the first 35 days you are going to target these 3 subjects itself. And how are you going to study these 3 subjects, sir? What about the rest of the stuff? What am I supposed to do about the mains topics? What am I supposed to do about the optional subject and all that? So our understanding is that for the next 5 months, what are we supposed to do? With that in mind, what you are supposed to do is this. On a daily basis for the first 35 days, this is what you are supposed to do. Weekends separate. I'm talking about Monday to Friday. This is what you are supposed to do. You have to plan for a 10-hour day. Per day 10 hours is your study time. So plus or minus 2, rather than minus 2, I would say plus 1 or 2 hours is fine as well. 1 hour you remove for current affairs. 1 hour you remove for optional subject. This is a must for the next 35 days. So 1 hour for current affairs. How am I supposed to cover the current affairs? So you can refer to any material, right? So you refer to Legacy IAS material or any institute material. 1 hour. So what is the range of current affairs you are going to cover? I would suggest you to start from May 2024 onwards. Okay, you start from there or go backwards. Go backwards from December towards May. This is what you can do. So 1 hour per day, not more than that. Okay, and then 1 hour for your optional subject, because do not leave aside optional now. Now itself, if you leave aside, you will be detached from optional. So 1 hour per day, whatever possible work you are supposed to do, whatever possible work you will be able to do related to optional, you cover it. Maybe writing an answer for the optional, 2 or 3 answers, or preparing short notes for optional. So do something related to optional, keep in touch. And then 1 hour for your mains topics. I'm talking about the mains topics, as in there are some exclusive mains topics, GS subjects. So you are still 5 months away from the examination. Now itself, if you stay away from these subjects, it becomes really difficult after your prelims. So 1 hour for your mains topics. I'm talking about post-independent India. I'm talking about your world history. I'm talking about your internal security challenges and disaster management, ethics, right? So you spend 1 hour of quality time on your mains topic. So if we remove these 3, 1, 2 and 3 hours, you're still left with 7 hours a day. So out of 10 hours, you still have 7 hours. In those 7 hours, you are supposed to do what? Cover those 3 subjects, any of the subject per day you take, right? Or you cover entire economy first, first 10 days maybe, right? So 10 days economy along with the PYQs. Always study the PYQs whenever you are covering the topics. Any subject you are covering, go with the PYQs. So this is your first 35 days. In the 35 days, whenever you get the weekends, what are we supposed to do? Dedicate the weekends for your tests. Take 2 tests, maybe on a Sunday or a Saturday, 2 tests. And most important thing is analysis of them. Most important thing is analysis of those tests. You have to break down each and every option that is given. So whether you get it right or wrong. So even before you go into the explanation, right, before you check the explanation of the answer of the question, of the options, you sit down and think about why my answer is correct, why the rest of the options are wrong, at the same time why my answer is wrong, and why the given option is correct. You think and then only check the explanation. That's what analysis is all about. So it should not be like you made a mistake and then you just read the explanation. You stop thinking, right? If you do that exercise, you will stop thinking. So before, that is why, in order to analyze, you would take somewhere around 2 to 3 hours. 2 to 3 hours of your time should be spent on analysis of the test you take. And then practice CSAT. Practice CSAT. If you are already thorough with CSAT, so whatever I tell you regarding CSAT, you can utilize it for your GS or your optional time. This is what you can do. Now, after the first 35 days, we are in the second stage. The next 50 days, what are we supposed to do? Look at this. The concept-based subjects are done. But still, because they are concept-based, because they are very, very important for the prelims examination, there is a chance that we keep forgetting certain things. Right? We cannot afford to forget those subjects or the concepts. So what I have done is, in this strategy, what you can do, in the second stage, you have 50 days. In the 50 days, you target the environment, history, and art and culture. Sir, how many days per subject? That is one more question. How many days per question, per subject will be dependent on your strengths and weaknesses. I cannot decide for you for which subject how much time you are supposed to take. That is why, we dedicated 35 days for the first 3 subjects. You dedicate how much ever time you want in those 35 days. Why? Because somebody might be good in environment already, economy already. So they do not require so much time on economy. So you plan it accordingly. So, but the first 3 subjects that need to be mastered are those 3. And in the next stage, you are supposed to master the next 3 subjects. Basically, you have environment, history, and art and culture. So again, dedication of the time, it depends on you. And now comes the revision of the first 3. Along with you covering these 3 subjects, you have to revise the first 3 on a daily basis. Any one subject on a daily basis, you have to choose and keep revising. So I'm talking about your economy, polity, right? Economy, polity, and geography. Any one of these subjects you have to choose on a daily basis during these 50 days and keep revising them, because you have already done the studying of those subjects in the first phase. What are we supposed to do on a daily basis? Again, it's a 10-hour day. 1 hour for current affairs, no change in that. You stick to that 1 hour current affairs. 1 hour for optional, you stick to it. No need of mains topic. Now you can leave aside the mains topic. Right? The mains topics, you continue with for the first 35 days. After that, mains topics probably you will have almost read them through once or probably twice by then. So now no more mains topics. Now the focus is slightly shifting towards the prelims only. Okay, and 2 hours you dedicate on a daily basis for the revision of the first 3 subjects. So by this measure, look at this, you have 10 hours, 1 hour you have for current affairs, 1 hour for optional, 2 hours are gone, and 2 hours for the first 3, right? First 3 subjects, one of them you choose to revise on a daily basis. So you are still left with 6 hours of your time. For what? For the next 3, which I just mentioned, that is your history, art and culture, and then your environment. Right? 6 hours per day for the 50 days, right? You can cover these subjects. Sir, does it not feel like, we are dedicating more time for these subjects? The more time we are dedicating over 50 days is because of this particular subject, history. You have ancient, you have medieval, you have modern India. So because of this, we are supposed to spend more time. At the same time, we have dedicated some time for the revision as well, right? And one of the most important tasks you are supposed to engage in this particular stage is, of course, you have to go through the PYQs, but this is one more thing you are supposed to do. List all the difficult chapters, probably maintain a diary of sort, 30-40 page notebook, in which you are going to mention for every subject you are going to mention which is the subject, which is the topic you find most difficult, which is the chapter you find most difficult. Just mention them, make a list of them. Probably out of the 70-80 chapters that are there in Lakshmikant, you find 5 or 6 chapters very difficult. You make a list of those chapters first in this stage. Okay, now on Sundays and Saturdays, the weekends, you have to take 2 tests a day, total 3 GS and 1 CSAT. So basically you can take 4 tests on Saturday and Sunday put together. So 2 tests per day, 1 on CSAT and 3 GS tests you are supposed to take, and analyze. Most importantly, again, you have to analyze these tests. And if time permits and if you're weak in CSAT, make sure that you practice some CSAT as well during the weekends. Do not overburden yourself like Saturday, Sunday, it's getting wasted. It's not getting wasted. Sir, what about the revision of whatever I've learned through the tests? Whatever I have analyzed, I keep forgetting. So we'll have time for that later. And the final stage is the last 30 days, or you have stage 3. The final stage we have 20-25 days, whatever is left over, that would be the last stage. You have the consolidation stage, that is 30 days. In this stage, you choose one subject per day only. Any one subject you choose, and the next day you are going to change the subject. Okay, every single day one subject. So you have 5 days, 5 different subjects, right? So 6 days, 6 different subjects. So master the difficult subjects, or rather I would say master the difficult topics. Remember, you made a list of all the different difficult topics. I asked you to maintain one 30-40 page notebook. Master them first, and then solve 50 questions on a daily basis. It doesn't matter where you get the questions from, any good source, right? So any source you take and keep solving those 50 questions on a daily basis. Revisit the PYQs now. You'll have a different perspective altogether. So when I say PYQs, I would say go backwards from 2024 onwards, backwards till 2014. Okay, 10 years. That's more than sufficient. And now is the time you have to add one more task, which is the list items. What are these list items? There are some items, on which questions are asked. For example, you have wildlife sanctuaries, tiger reserves, tribes, yes, biosphere reserves, and then you have your intellectual property rights related, that is GI tax. Yes, so national parks, all these are list based questions. So you do the research on it as to which are the ones which have been in news recently. So places in news, all these are the list items. Done? So you work on the list items. You have to work on the list items in the last phase because there is a chance that you remember them better. It's the recency effect. Okay, and also most of the lists will be updated by then. Yes, so even your schemes you can cover during this period. Okay, next, during this phase as well, as I mentioned, look at this 10-hour day. Now 1 hour for current affairs, it remains the same. Optional, no mains topic, we have discontinued with that. So our focus completely is on prelims only now. So rest of the time you are just mastering the difficult topics and revising one subject per day. You have CSAT 1 hour. If you are weak, dedicate 1 complete hour for CSAT if you are weak in CSAT. So that is, so for anybody who is weak in CSAT, what I would suggest is, if you have somewhere around 20 topics on which math is being asked, math questions are being asked, master 10, leave 10 aside. Half of them you should have mastered, because at the end of the day you need to score only 67, right? So whichever topics you feel too uncomfortable, leave them. So master only those topics which you are comfortable, right? So that doesn't mean that you're not comfortable with entire math, you have to leave aside entire math. No, that does not work. So math becomes an essential part, so you are supposed to focus on at least half the topics and master them. And 30 minutes for list items. So if we go by this measure, look at this current affairs 1 hour, you have 1 hour for CSAT and 30 minutes for list items. So 2.5 hours, if you remove, you still have a solid 7.5 hours for learning the difficult topics and mastering it. At the same time, you're revising. So this is the third revision we are doing almost. This is the third revision. And finally, on the weekends, this is what you're supposed to do. Take 2 tests a day, same. Total 3 GS and 1 CSAT and analysis. It's the same. Now the last phase, this is the final phase. So when whatever time you have left, you're left with. Say for example, we started with 35 days. 35 days plus 50, 85 days. 85 plus 30. So 80 plus 30, 110, right? 115 days are done. So with whatever time you are left with, maybe 15 days, 20 days, 30 days, whatever you are left with, do not add any new topics to your study. Don't add any new topics. So whatever difficult topics were there, you have learned them, right? You have mastered them. No new topics. Don't add any sources. 2 subjects a day for revision. Why? You are training your brain to shift from one subject to another, so that in the examination as well, it becomes easier for your brain to think. So 2 subjects, half a day for one subject, another half day for another subject revision, so that you also don't get bored. And now you are supposed to revise all the tests and the questions. Dedicate 2 hours of your time on a daily basis just to look at the tests you have taken so far. Just revise those tests, all the questions you have solved so far. Take 4 tests a week. Okay, take 4 tests a week. Same thing, weekends you used to take. Any time of the week, whenever you feel like revision is getting bored, it is getting boring, so you take a test. But remember, any test you are taking should be time based. That is, you have to respect the time limit. 2 hours, you have to respect it. And finally, you revisit the list items. Whatever list items you have prepared, you revisit them. So this is what you are supposed to do. Do not, overdo things. Do not make it too complicated. The strategy should not be too complicated. Keep it very, very simple. Maintain a diary. Maintain a diary just to have a plan on a daily basis and a weekly basis. So in a week, this is what I am going to do. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, this is what I'm going to do. So timings, you fix it. Okay, so there is nothing extraordinary you are supposed to do. All you're going to end up doing is strategizing all the time and doing nothing. So start doing, have a short-term plan, right? A weekly plan, and on a daily basis, the tasks you are going to complete. So I have given a broad overview of the things you are supposed to do. I did not go into the particulars of on what day, what subject, how much you have to study, because that depends on your strengths and weaknesses. That never works. All right. So hope this video was helpful. Have a great day and all the very best for your prelims examination. Thank you.